Welcome to Shorty Supercoach, and welcome to Shorty in some random car park with 2 cocktails under his belt. How about that? But look, you might be getting a bit of rain sounds as well here. This might turn into a bit of Shorty's ASMR. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but the weather has definitely turned a bit from the sun that I was driving down in, thinking this would be a lovely night to just stay in lawn, but now I might have to bunker things down a bit. We'll still head down that way, but it's looking a bit iffy. So this is a bit of a throwback to the old days where we'd just record these press conferences and different videos in the car with the light on. So I hope you're feeling nostalgic if you're around at those times. And it was a strange day. You know, I'm on school holidays at the moment, so they're great. They're great to have school holidays, but it also lends itself to being like, you got to get a bit of that life admin sort of stuff done and appointments and things like that. So I had a couple of appointments today, including the dentist, and I tell you what, I'm getting these implants put in because I've got a 2-tooth gap. Long story. Apparently, it's not a good idea to have a 2-tooth gap over many years. So we're getting an implant there, and yeah, we've done the hardest part so far, but he had to do these scans and stuff. I tell you what, they couldn't have designed a smaller scanning thing, could they? I tell you what, he was putting this huge scanning device into my mouth. He was like, "Mate, can you get it any wider?" I'm like, "Could you buy me dinner first, brother?" I was like, Jesus, mate, I normally get to know someone a bit better before something of this size goes in my mouth. Clearly, we're just, don't cancel Shorty, we're just having a bit of fun there. It's amazing what a couple of cocktails will do. Anyway, look, we're going to have a look at the teams tonight. Here's a few players we want to have a look at. This was the feedback, and look at this, a bit of a plan. This is what I'd love my side to look at one point. My rough plans on my trades. This is when I talk about planning. This is sort of what I like to do. But these are the main guys to talk about. Roberts, Long, who's probably currently already started. I'm not sold on him as a selection, but so yeah, there's a few things there. But look, we just don't want these teams to ruin us. Every week, I just feel a little bit nervy. Maybe I should be nervy about not having internet access as well. Hopefully, all things are still recording because we don't want to be doing this again offline, bro. Are you serious, brother? Give me one moment. Well, it looks pretty connected to me, mate. Looks pretty connected, brother. Let's have a look. All right, says we're connected. Cool. Let's take a look at some AFL team lineups. So yeah, every week it's just, particularly at the moment, like you just get a bit nervy. Like I'd love Sardis to come back in. I'm not feeling hopeful on that. I want Lawler to come back in. We just don't want any surprises, particularly around rookies. So, well, that's new, seeing their photos. Don't think I like it, but all right, what have we got here? Yeah, this is really tripping me out with the photos, but Harry Mackay injured. Ooh, he just can't get a run at it, can he? Georgie Wardlaw comes back. That's interesting. And clearly no pit net as well, which is something that a lot of people were very conscious of and concerned about. So I've got no idea where pit net is at. I assume he's playing in the lower levels, but surely don't mess with DeConing. Surely not, but we don't have to worry about that for this week. Come on, show me a bit of Elijah Sardis. Come on, show me. You prick. You fucking prick. And Clay Hall's out too, you bloody spud, mate. Oh, at least Elijah Hewitt came in and old mate Matty Flynn. So, Will Setterfield, could you just piss off, mate? Is he at least in the, where's the emergencies? What, you can't see emergencies anymore? Well, we've put their photos in, but I can't see the emergencies. Oh, outstanding stuff here from the AFL website. That's just great, that is. Anyway, I'll be on red alert to see Sardo Hooley not named the sub, and then I reckon I'll bring him in. What else have we got here? Fritsch, wow, they've swung the axe. Van Rooyen dropped. And Fritsch, wow, the D's have thrown the axe there. So, yeah, we knew a couple of those were going to happen. Yes, Lawler comes back in, that's good. Jacob Blight dropped. I thought he'd been going all right. Yeah, okay. What have we got here? Obviously, these are now extended benches for the Sunday teams. Patton comes back in. Old mate Finlayson. Harry Boyd. Yeah, Bustling. He could be one to really have a look at in a couple of weeks. And, of course, Bont comes back. Very good to see Bont back in. And we'll wait on the Geelong team. So, yeah, interesting. So, I think I'll still... Obviously, I've got to wait and see exactly whether Al Hooley is selected on the field and not the sub. But I want to go Humphries, Davidson and Roberts out. And in Al Hooley, Gawn and Cleary. Now, I'll go through... I think I might put the C on Gawn as well. And I might have to just take a dabble at Sheasel or LDU on the vice captaincy, which I don't exactly love, but the Clay Hall thing, it's frustrating. I mean, he didn't go great last week, but just feel like their midfield's going so poorly that surely he could have got more of an opportunity, but at least Hewitt comes in. Maybe that'll cancel itself out and we'll get cash gen from there, but yeah, look, it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out. Let's talk about, first things first, let's talk about Ned Long, which a lot of people were like, got to bring him in. Look, I was crunching the numbers, and I sort of did a bit of a graphic on TikTok, which hopefully I'll be able to show you here.
Now, so many people on my live were talking about Ned Long, saying, bring him in, you got to get him in. He's just up.
So we did the
right
math.
Up me, but I'm just concerned. I don't know about...
Pause, bro. So I just don't see the reason as to why we would bring him in as opposed to a Cleary or a Gross. If you're just going Ned Long as an extra sort of downgrade on top of those other guys, I kind of get it, but I feel like Davidson, this is just an example. Someone down to Long, you're not going to get much cash on the way down because he's 280k. And then on the way up, if he averaged 85, he would reach 410. So in this example, I've given him 430. Maybe people think he can average in the 90s, but I reckon best case scenario, all depending who you downgrade him from, he's going to net you anywhere from 150 to 180k, which is okay, but not to mention he's been the sub 3 times. He had McGuinness go off early, which allowed him to come on almost in the first quarter against the Dogs. But I know he played well. I'm not trying to bag out that he played well. I think if he gets a full game, he's every chance of going 90-plus most weeks. He looks fantastic, but he did score a ton early in the season and then still ended up being the sub on a number of occasions. He comes back. He'll probably play forward, but in a week or two, does Degoe move into the midfield a bit more and change things up? I don't know. But yeah, I've got my doubts over what the exact function is of his role in your Supercoach side. I think the role in Collingwood is clear, but as opposed to, like we sort of said here,
I don't know. I just don't see the point in 170k or something like that. Straight there.
No, doesn't look like they're going to go away. As opposed to if you did go down to a Cleary or a Gross, you get 150, 160, 180k on the way down.
And then you've got Cleary going the way back up.
Can be 300k
and even if Cleary doesn't go overly well, and let's say he only gets to...
Don't want to bag out what he could do from a scoring point himself, as we're losing a bit of light here, guys. But yeah, I just don't know whether he's going to be the best financial pick, adding in the risk of him being sub and the possibilities around that. So just wanted to raise that. I'm also just going to raise concerns around the car. So let's just check these lights and we'll continue on with the rest of the video. In terms of the rest of the guys to talk about, I think Matt Roberts probably has to go. It's not one that you've just got to turf him. And he's got a break even of 115 and just one of those guys that I think if it works for you, do it. You know, he could come out and score 90 plus, but I do feel like Riley Bice has actually affected some of his scoring, back-to-back high 70s, which, yeah, we just need more, particularly after that 115. Those first 3 weeks look fantastic, and I said last week, hold the faith on Roberts. If he does another 70, then we can probably trade him, and he's done it, so probably reaffirms that the role's just not exactly there. He still takes a few kickouts, still links up, had a fair bit of the footy, but not exactly producing the scores we need. So he's sort of similar to Clayton Oliver. Not one that you have to just, he's got to get rid of him, he's leaking cash. But just one that I think over the next 1 week, 2 weeks, put him into your plans as a way to get rid of him. And Petrarca, Warner, We discussed them in my recent dual positions video. Obviously, they have received DPP, along with Nick Martin as well. Just watching Petrarca up close last week, just didn't seem like the Petrarca that we knew. The numbers were alright. It was 27 touches, 90-something SuperCoach. But he just didn't move in that explosive manner. And I just feel like everything's falling apart at Melbourne. And spoke about it in the other video too. Like, there's an absolute need for him to play forward, like particularly with Van Rooyen going out. I don't even know. I think they brought in Daniel Turner or something. But look, I would just hold. Look, he could end up being a must-have forward, but until we absolutely see it, and also coming off what was a disastrous year last year for him with the body and the injury concerns. At one stage last week, he took a mark at half-back and hit the ground and seized up. I don't know what was going on, whether he tweaked something or was just sore or fatigued or cramp. I'm not sure, but yes, he's too good of a player to not find the footy, and I could see him averaging 90 even in a poor Melbourne team when he does play 50-50 split mid and forward, but I would prefer to just wait a week or two and see if he can just bounce back a little bit, see if Melbourne can resurrect this sinking ship and see what they're going to do, because I think change is coming at the Ds. What they're doing right now is not working. Do they revert back to, all right, we've got to put Petrarca straight in the guts because playing him in this other role hasn't really worked, we're still going terrible, we may as well go back to our guns? I'm not sure. Do they go the opposite and play him more forward and give the likes of Rivers and Pickett and Langford and Lindsay more opportunity in there? I just want to wait and see. So as opposed to Warner, I feel a bit more confident in Warner's role, particularly with some players coming back from injury in the midterm for the Swans, which I think will help cover some of that mid-sized forward types, which should alleviate the need for Warner to be there. But look, both of them I'm happy to wait on, particularly with Warner's break even. But yeah, I think they'll both, or at least one of them, end up in our sides, but I just don't think there's any need to launch it right now. Build up a bit more information around it and then make a call. Gross and Cleary, I wouldn't say they're, sell the farm, use a boost to get both of them in. I'm going just the one. I'm going to bring in Cleary. And I should have, let's have a look at these teams. I mean, it doesn't always mean much, but sometimes it's nice to just see if they're named on the field or if they're named on an extended bench and that sort of thing. Where are we? So where's old mate Cleary? So he's on. So look, I guess we've still got to wait and see, which is going to be annoying because we won't find that out until there has been one game. Anyway, and Gross. And even Brock going out will piss a few people off because he was a downgrade. Won't it be funny if Matty Flynn starts to get going? Where's Gross? So he's on the interchange bench. So, yeah, look, I still lean towards Cleary for absolutely no real rhyme or reason, but just leaning towards him. Connor Rozee isn't a week a long time in footy and SuperCoach. It was a week ago where we were just saying get rid of him, he's trash, can't handle a tag. Then he moves to half back and tears it up, and we're like, oh, is it a good price? It's crazy. But so if you said, Shorty, I'm bringing Rozee in, I'm not going to talk you out of it. I understand the decision. I'm not going to go out of my way to get him in because I think he is susceptible to attention. And you can certainly get plenty of attention off half-back if you start going too good as well. So it's not to say that just at half-back he's totally avoiding any sort of a tag. But, he's at a nice price, he is, but just concerns me. I just don't have full trust in Connor Rozee, so I'm happy to pass on him at the moment. Dylan Moore was discussed as a guy getting more midfield time due to the Hawks' injuries. I'm not sure whether that was purely because of the injuries or because they started to go so poorly and they had to change some magnets around and throw him into the guts. If you watch that Port Adelaide and Hawthorn game and it's full, you might be able to tell me. But yeah, I wouldn't be reaching for Dylan Moore in the forward line just yet. I think it's pretty clear. We're looking for a sixth forward. We've got Horne-Francis, we've got Rankin, we've got Smith, McRae, Daniel. They're all keepers. I think we're looking to add, whether it's a Chad Warner or a Petrarca or a Nick Martin, or maybe Dylan Moore if you like him. But I do still feel that he'll play quite a bit time forward, which he can still average in the 90s because he's so quality, but probably prefer others. Tristan Cherry, look, we've got bigger fish to fry, or at least I do, in terms of making trades, but I just sort of feel like, there's clearly a concern around that hamstring. He's not going as well as we would have hoped. let's reassess if this continues. He's still playing. He's still named. So it's a bit concerning. It's a bit strange, but it's almost like he's not at his best, but he can get by, which is a bit annoying. But look, let's see. If the injury, he might be able to work through it. It might get worse. He might keep putting together these type of scores, and we have to trade him. But until then, let's just wait and see. But a lot of people are talking about Gawn v Daicos. I'm going Gawn, and this one's purely on a sort of break-even discussion. So while I still definitely, part of me wishes I had Nick Daicos tonight and put the VC on him, but I could only get one premium because I'm bringing in Tom Stewart and someone else, Nick Daicos next week, and he's got a break-even to 120, which is very gettable, but he'd have to go enormous to really move greatly in price. So I'm just hoping for a 125. Don't change the price too much. Where Gawn's gone back-to-back 120 pluses, break-even of 80. So I just feel like I'm going to launch at him and get him in. And as you can see in this sort of plan here, next week it'll be Daicos and Stewart. Probably for Oliver. I don't think Sanders or Marek will allow me to afford that. So it's probably going to have to be Oliver, whose break-even's 98. Gettable, but again, he's not really the product we wanted. And then Lockie Ash was a discussion point as well. And sometimes I reckon I'm a bit hesitant to jump on these guys. The ones that haven't done it before and start to have a start to the year that's really impressive. Is it a good patch of 5 weeks, or has he finally arrived? Because he's a guy we've really spoken about with a lot of promise for a long time. I get a bit scared. I'm just not sure if I can launch at him just yet. Look, he's racking up huge numbers. He's produced 4 90 pluses, 3 120 pluses. Like, honestly, again, it's a bit like what I said before. If you said, mate, I'm bringing him in, I am not going to argue against you. Like, he's got a great break even. He's pretty cheap at 512. So a bloke around that price range, he's clearly the best in the range. But I don't know. I don't know why. Like, is he just breaking out now? Like, he's been consistent for a couple of years. He's in the window, 23. Like, he's finally got 100 games under his belt. Maybe it is time. Maybe this is the Lockie Ash we'll see for the next 4 years. I don't know. There's just something that I just get scared when we haven't seen it before, and it's just 5 good weeks at the moment. It's not to say that he couldn't produce another 15 of these types of weeks and we missed the boat on a really good price, but I'm sort of backing in some more known products in Nick Daicos, Max Gawn, and even Tom Stewart next week, depending how he looks on Monday. He has still looked a bit ginger, a bit fragile on that knee, but I feel like at 450k it's going to be hard to say no if he tons up on Monday. But look, I am going to edit this one up as we cover off all the points that I think we needed to cover off. But let me know your thoughts and your trades. VCs and Cs, would love to hear them. I think Brayshaw and Rowell, very good options. They were common selections as a C. VC on Merit, also a very good call, another common one. But look, hopefully the old car holds up in the weather, and I'll talk to you on Monday night. Cheers.